Hi, this is Travis with Two Brothers Adventures. Today I'm going to be talking about the Ultimate Survival Technologies Sparky. We're going to evaluate this against our standardized checklist for fire starting devices. For more information about that checklist or about this video series, check out the video link we'll throw up on the screen now. Alright, as far as packaging, the way this comes blister packed simply like this. You have a ferro rod that's inside of this. This will actually spring loaded. It'll go inside an enclosure. Has kind of a rubber coated outer sleeve. There's a push down, so you push to release it. So you can push and push back in. It's kind of like a switchblade type mechanism or whatever. So the ferro rod actually stores up in the handle, so it's small and light for transportation, and when you need to use it, you can pop it out. It has a blade for striking inside that'll strike on the rod, and then you can manually turn the rod so you can keep it evenly distributed throughout. As far as weight, we'll go ahead and give this away. Weighs in at 0.9 ounces, so pretty light. As far as cost, these are they range anywhere from about $12 to $15, $18, depending on where you get them online or at retail stores. Pretty inexpensive. It's a striker, so how it works, there's an actual striking mechanism or a blade inside of there, so you apply pressure where it says push, and then you simply push down to get a spark. So that's how that works. We'll skip the burn time test because obviously there's no burn time, and we'll move right into the water test. To do the water test, we'll do the damp mist test, we'll do a dip test and a soak test. And I'm actually going to do, since this one goes in on itself, I'm going to do a mist test with it closed, and then I'll do one with it open. So to simulate a mist, we're going to do 3 sprays of the bottle. And then strikes without issue. And this time I'm going to go ahead and get the rod itself wet. And typically with a ferro rod, when it gets damp, it won't until you get through the dry. It won't actually strike, but you can dry it off and it should strike. Next, we're going to go ahead and do the dip test. Again, I'll do it with it closed. I'll dip it, and then I'll try it with it actually extended out. So I should be able to just dry this off. There we go. There we go. As it gets through that wet. And then I'll go ahead and dip it with it exposed. And again, with these wet, it shouldn't really strike, but I should be able to just simply dry it off. There we go. And start getting spark. So that's the dip test. Next, I'm going to go ahead and move into the soak test, and I'll leave it in. It doesn't, I guess, really matter either way. It's going to get wet because you can see it's open, so I'll leave it exposed. For this test, I'm going to see if I can just drop it in. We'll do it for 2 minutes, and we'll pull it out at the end of 2 minutes. Okay, we're going to go ahead and pull this out at the 2-minute mark. I'm going to grab it with the pliers since I didn't hook a string or anything on it. Ah, crud. Okay, pull it out. I'm going to shake it off. Again, with the ferro rod, usually when they're wet, it won't strike. I'll just, and you can see it'll actually peel off some of the metal. But if you dry it off, simply should just be able to dry it off. This rag's pretty damp. We've been using it for multiple tests, but there we go. So just wipe off the surface and you'll get a nice spark. So definitely we'll pass the damp, dip, and soak test if you dry it off. Next, we're going to do the one-handed test. So the beauty of this striker is it's a pretty easy one-handed device. Closed or open, you can simply open it with one hand, and it's a one-handed device. So passes the one-handed test. Now we'll set up and do the wind test. Alright, so for the wind test, we have a fan set up at the end here, a series of 3 fans on a yardstick for the striker. I'm going to strike it here at a yard, moving halfway to 18 inches, and then right up against the fan itself. So here at 18 inches, get a spark without issue. I mean, that's actually a yard, sorry. 18 inches, good spark. And then right up against the fan, as close as I can get. definitely get a good spark. So ferro rod or these type of strikers are definitely win. Okay, so for wrap up on the Sparky, this passed the mist test, the dip test, as well as the soak test. So ferro rods, as long as you dry them off sufficiently, they will strike right away. It also passed the wind test without issue. One thing I failed to mention when I was doing the one-handed test as well, another nice thing about this particular striker is you can do a one-handed strike like this. You can simply pinch it and push down and strike. This is real nice because you can go over a bed of tinder or whatever and strike. You don't actually have to disturb it or anything by pushing down into something. So that's another nice feature about this particular striker. It's also nice that it will store down in on itself. It's really light, it being under an ounce. It's really light and compact. Another thing I failed to mention is it's got a hole for a lanyard, so you can, put a lanyard on it if you wanted, or hang it on a necklace or whatever. So definitely a nice little striker. Light, little, and compact. Something to definitely to pick up if you're interested in this type of a striker.